Hi, it's Paul, and today I'm an old man with a jammed, stuck side gate. This particular side gate is on the side of a property. It's the access to the rear of the property, and the person that owns it wants to be able to get the bins out, and they can't, so we're going to try and see if we can fix it. So the initial thought is that the gate has expanded or swelled over the years, and that's why it's stuck in the frame. So the first idea is we take a planer or a sander to the right hand edge of it, shown here, and we cut some back, and that'll make it fit the frame better. But as I take a closer look, it's not quite what it seems. As I open and close the gate, as I video at the same time, you can see the gate is jamming up against the wood. You can also see the snowflakes because it's snowing and raining at the same time. It was horrible. You can see it jamming against the bolt hasp, and you can see it jamming again as I close it at the top. But what you can also see, as I noticed, is a huge gap between the framework of the gate and the brickwork, and that's actually what the problem is. So the first thing we're going to do is actually try and secure at least the right hand side of the frame back against the wall a bit better. That will pull the frame rightwards away from the gate and thus make the gap bigger, so that the gate should close easier. If we take a closer look at the fixings, we can see where some of the existing ones have failed. Where this is the end face of brickwork, so it's only about 4 inches 100mm wide, some quite hefty fixings have been used, which is a fairly standard thing to do to hold the frame back because you want something tough. What's actually happened is they've expanded the brickwork, they've cracked the brickwork, and over time the water's got into it, the frost's got into it, and it's failed. So here in this picture, apologies for the quality of the picture, it's awful. This is one of the original fixings. This is a coach bolt, and I'll show you one not fitted now. This is a coach screw, so called because there's a screw thread, and you can see the wall plug that came with it. And if you now look at this second picture, you can see if I screw the coach bolt in, or the coach screw into the wall plug expands to about twice the diameter, hence the problem. So I wasn't happy with using the coach screw, but in my toolbox I'd got some of these decking screws shown on the lower part of the picture, and some plugs that had fit. But again, I was concerned that by the time I got them into the wall, they were going to expand far too much and cause me the same problem. So what you see at the bottom of the picture here is what I ended up using. On the left side of the bottom is an 8mm wall plug. On the right side of the bottom is a wood screw, and so that was going to be sufficient. They held in the wall plug well enough. That was going to be sufficient to pull the frame back. The only thing that worried me outside of that was that I was concerned that the screw head was going to pull into the wood, because the wood is getting a bit old and rotten. So I counterbored the wood, as you can see here, and then put a big, what they call a penny washer, on the head of the screw to make sure I distributed the load from the head of the screw across the woodwork. So to try and explain the counterbore bit that I was talking about, rather than doing it in the snow and cold, I'll do it on this drawing. So if we imagine this to be my wooden frame, and it was just a piece of wood to start with, here's my wall. What I do is I take my flat wood bit and I drill a fairly large hole first, down to about halfway through the wood, and then I take my masonry bit, which is 8mm, and I'll drill right the way through the rest of the wood and into the wall. Why do I do that? Okay, so here's my plug and here's my screw. The size of the screw head isn't all that big, so what worries me is when I drill in and I put my plug on the end of my screw, I push it through the piece of timber into the wall so that it's secure in the wall, But what worries me then is that as I tighten it up, it will just pull into the hole in the wood and it won't secure anything. It will just pull right the way through. So what I want to do is I want to put a washer on the head of the screw so that I make sure the screw sits solidly into the wood and locates into the wall plug. And this bit here is what we refer to as the counterbore. And what I can do at a later date is I can fill that with another plug of wood, or I can fill it with whatever. In this instance, I'm unlikely to, because as you'll see in a moment, the frame looks like a piece of cheese because it's full of holes. So what you can see here is the actual frame. Here's the first hole counterboard with the screw and washer in it. Here's the second hole without the screw and washer in it. Essentially, I did this operation in 6 places round the whole frame to make sure that I secured it back both on the right and left hand sides, and it ended up that I had about probably 5mm, quarter of an inch gap between the gate and the frame, which, as you saw at the beginning, wasn't there originally. And finally, while I was at it, I replaced this bottom hinge because the original one was on the point of snapping halfway across the main part of it, and in fact it did snap during the time when I was taking it off. So I threw that away, fitted a new one, and now it all works nicely. And I added a couple of screws in to stop the throw of the latch, because what used to happen is the latch used to drop down and swing about in the breeze. So as always, if you've found this useful or interesting, or you've got questions, please leave comments below. Like and subscribe if you would, and please check out oldmanwith.com for more of similar stuff, tool reviews and all sorts of other things besides. And overall, thanks for watching. Bye.